ABC News has an update for this NBA story. Portland Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups has been charged in an illegal poker operation tied to the mafia.
Uh-oh. What?
Terry Rozier was arrested in a separate but related betting case. I'm more confused than I was before.
So confusing.
And this one got Gilbert Arenas?
Did they bet on basketball? I think now is a fair question.
Yeah.
An illegal poker operation.
Or you could be talking about a poker game that they were involved in, and then with debt gave information on basketball teams / players for runners to be able to make wagers. I mean, this could go a lot of different ways now. I don't know.
That's crazy.
I know who is going to know about it, though, and that's the coach, Wimp Sanderson. He's brought to us each and every week by our friends at Coke and Piggly Wiggly. Coach, I don't know if you've seen anything on these stories, but pretty wild to think about these guys making all this money involved in sports betting potentially somehow, some way.
What about this story? The story has been written by Yellowhammer, Grayson Everett, that says that Ken Williamson, who's been an official for a long time, has been permanently suspended for the calls that were not made in the Auburn-Georgia game. Now, he has gone to the SEC office. The writer has, to get some clarification of this, but had the guts, or whatever you want to call it, to write it anyway without getting clarification of it. The word permanently is a big deal. Is not nothing was involved. This group wasn't anything involved about the Oklahoma mistake that was made there with that group. And I think Ken and them were on that game too, maybe. But this writer has written this, and so he had to have a little bit of knowledge of what's going on there, and that, to me, that's a big deal. We had. I'm not trying to go back to that, but to me, and I know nothing, as both of you know, if the ball gets over, if the ball gets over the line, the play is over and it's a touchdown. If that football gets over the line or at the line, it's a touchdown. I don't give a crap whether he fumbles or not after that or not. The game, the play is over when it goes over the line. So I don't know. Anyway, y'all probably don't want to make any comments. You probably talked about that enough. But.
Well, we haven't actually mentioned it, Coach. I was kind of waiting for the league to make a statement because I think, like you said, the verbiage is important here, and exactly how it is stated for exactly how it's ruled. So I'm not sure if Greg wants to go a different direction with that, but that's why I've kind of been reserving comment judgment on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not doubting the source. I don't know. I haven't talked to anybody. I know that Ken Williamson is a guy that I've done a lot of games where he's covered, and I've always felt like he's a pretty good official, man. I think all of them do a good job. Call me crazy. Like, I know people disagree, but I think that's a really hard job, and I think it's admirable that these guys are doing it, and they do it as well as they do it under the circumstances. So I hadn't heard anything like that. I know Ken Williams is not young. I know that. Yeah. I know he's probably pretty close to retirement age. I know that.
I'm not
I know he's a gentleman. I know that.
Yeah,
but when you say permanently suspend and stuff like that, like based on my sources within the league, that I hadn't heard anything like that. But we'll see.
Well, I haven't either, and I don't want to get. I'm not a foul-mouthed guy who says something I don't know. I thought, it's news, and for a guy to write this, he wrote it 15 hours ago, And to say that, I'm not cute. I think Ken does a good job as far as I know. You know more about it than I do. But to write this and to put it out publicly is when I get up and try to find something to talk about on my show. We talk about it, and quite unusual for it to be in the public that much when the conference office has not answered the guy who wrote the cotton picking article. So people write a lot of articles about you, brother, in coaching, and some of them are not very accurate.
What was the furthest you had to go in order to call out, have a discussion with a writer that you thought was wrong with what they wrote?
My when I got the job, nobody. It was so bad on me. It's one of your friends. I had to count. My wife cried every morning. He cut my guts out, and the reason for that is that he was a person who wanted to be a radio person, who wanted to get in this world by cutting everybody's guts out, and he cut me up because he was a writer at that time. I don't need to go any further with it than that. But I called him. I ran into him publicly one time. And told him what I thought. That, if you chop me to pieces, I hadn't won or lost a game. He may not have wanted me as the coach, but I hadn't won or lost a game at that particular time, and it was pretty brutal. And then, I got a long way in the NCAA tournament. Got to the Final 16 6 times, which was quite good. Didn't get by that game, and of course, all through that it was. But I'll answer your question anyway. I called him and told him what I thought. As far as firing coaches, when you fire, the next word that comes down, you have to hire. And yes, the Penn State coach has been on television, and he would be a first choice to some people. I'll come out and say this to you, and then you can bust me next time. Lane Kiffin's not going anywhere, in my opinion. You can quality of life, making money, getting players off the transfer portal, making about what you want to make. Things have kind of settled in for you. I don't think he's going anywhere. You can just get on here and say, bust me and say Wimp was dead wrong. He's just a basketball guy that gets on here and tries to say something.
That's what we say every time after you get off the phones, Coach.
That basketball guy.
Yeah, it's basketball. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he's a good football coach. He's got an air about him. People like that air. Jimmy Rain is a very close friend of mine at Auburn, so I flew with him the other day to see Beef Stallings on his plane. I don't think Auburn, they're struggling, and I think when I first came up back years ago, before you guys really got on here, y'all both good. Years ago, you could find an assistant coach who could become a head coach in football. There were some there. They went the assistant coach's route. They've stopped that now. They've taken the assistant coach and made him an interim coach at some of these places just to fill the gap, and may end up getting it at some places. But when you start to look for head coaches, they're not out there. The names are not out there for you to hire to make your team better. We've gone to a money game now, and the buyout situations are brutal for ADs and so forth. I don't know if y'all want to comment on that or not. I'll talk too much. Any thoughts on?
Yeah, with the rosters, Coach, and what you have to ask the fans for, it's extremely complicated now. But we had a conversation with Stephen Godfrey earlier this week, who he thought that was going to be the mindset going into last year, and that's where it was going to be. And now he's completely flipped the script, and he said a lot of these teams are just going to say, forget it, and just whatever it is, buy it. We can't afford to get even 1 year behind which
Yeah.
I do think some schools used to at least have some semblance of patience. And now it appears as though some are not. I'll say Florida's had a lot of patience, though. Like, you can't look at Florida and say,
No doubt.
oh, boy, they jumped the gun on this one.
Yeah,
I think even John Cohen and Auburn are showing some good patience right now.
Yeah, I think Florida had a terrible two-year schedule myself. Maybe it didn't get it done. Okay, I won't argue that. Greg, any thought on that?
South Carolina's had a terrible 2-year schedule. Arkansas has had a terrible 2-year schedule. That's why they fired theirs. But that's not all of them are bad records. So
I'll tell you something.
I think a lot of it has to do with fan base sentiment. I mean, if the fans are engaged and actively continuing to support the program, it's a lot less likely that a guy gets gassed. But you really need the fans nowadays to be engaged and to buy tickets, because those tickets are now supporting the revenues for the actual university more so than ever before, because it's a $20 million line item that's never been accounted for in the past. Yeah. So I think it's very important to make sure the fans are behind you. If they're not, and it's reflected with how many tickets they're selling and the atmospheres they're creating and the amount of support and enthusiasm the fan base is drumming up for your coach, there's a lot going there. Like, was there any reason for James Franklin to get fired? Probably not. Not based on what he's done over the last 12 years. And after 6 games, the fans all of a sudden start booing Fire Franklin in 3 straight games. I mean, that'll get you to move pretty quickly.
Yeah, and I'll tell both of you something. The NIL, for example, and I've had them on my show just recently, the NIL has affected LSU. LSU doesn't have the money. They pay a coach a lot of money. Personality-wise, he probably doesn't fit. Maybe record-wise, you may say he doesn't fit either. But they paid him a lot of money. And they don't have a lot of NIL money coming in. They've given some money to baseball. It's been very good. Women's basketball has been very good. But not enough money coming in to really make LSU the LSU that you and I have thought about it over the years. And I think we have some interesting things happening now because of NIL, because of fans being disgruntled, as both of you mentioned, and trying to fire a guy and the money that it costs. People are not going to give millions and millions and millions of dollars to help fire a person this day and time. If you ask your guys to do that, if you're the AD, I don't know.
It's tough, Coach. It's a tough situation on a lot of administrators and a lot of schools. But we'll see where some
really
of those go.
It doesn't make it. Yeah, and I know that Auburn's had a tough time, and I hope that, and the evaluation there is, and I can tell you, the evaluation there is going to be how the rest of the season goes. And they've got a tough schedule, and we got quarterback problems. When you make mistakes at quarterback, you have a hard time. So
you do. It's been a hard time for multiple years now. So I think that's why some people have grown sour on it.
I'll get off here and let y'all do whatever you do, which is good, and tell you that Piggly Wiggly and Coke are the ones that bring me on here, and I appreciate them doing so for me. And Piggly Wiggly is a great company, and they have great vegetables and meats, and Stanley and Andy do a great job, and I hope that people will go in Piggly Wiggly and tell them they heard your show, heard this segment on the show, and Coke's a great product as well to drink. So anyway, I said what I think, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Coach. We appreciate you.
Hey, Coach.
All right, that's the Coach Wim Sanderson joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. When we come back, the computer was good last week. Scratch that. The computer was great last week.
Oh, boy.
Scratch that. The computer was perfect last week.
Oh, boy.
The Rubik's Cubelic returns next on Jocks. One more segment to go before the Rubik's Cubelic. That's my mistake. We got Jordan K to talk South Carolina and how they match up with Alabama, maybe where that team is going to be heading into this weekend. I know there has been an emphasis on quarterback run. One of the things I noticed against Oklahoma last week was while there were a couple of instances where Lenore Sellers was able to keep the football and run, the focal point for Oklahoma a lot of the time was not on him, and there was extra space given to him. It was to take away the primary run read, in which they had some success doing. How does that need to change? Will that change? Jordan K joins us now on the Higginbotham Hotline to talk South Carolina and Alabama. How much more can they, should they, do they want to run Lenore Sellers, maybe as opposed to somewhat protecting him with the football in his hands, Jordan?
It doesn't sound like they want to run him anymore. We asked Mike Shula kind of, hey, why wasn't Lenore Sellers run on any design quarterback runs on goal-to-go situations? And he was kind of saying, hey, those are the downs that are going to be, really physical, and those are the ones, the muddy runs that we want our running backs to do, and trying to save Lenore Sellers a little bit. So it doesn't sound like they are all too thrilled with just having him, go and run into loaded boxes.
But is that a reluctance from Lenore Sellers' camp? Because to me, with the +1 run game, that could be one of their best attributes, knowing his athleticism.
I think that's what we're still trying to figure out. Hey, is this something, one of the offensive linemen had a quote the other day where he said, we're trying to get Lenore Sellers to the league. And, fans and us are looking around like, the league? What are you talking about? Aren't you guys trying to win football games before, getting him to the NFL? So, yeah, I think that's a thing we're trying to figure out of, hey, is this something where he's trying to protect himself for the next level, or does the coaching staff really think that, they have the best chance of winning if they have a running back there and they don't want to put Lenore Sellers in harm's way?
Jordan K covers the South Carolina Gamecocks. They match up with Alabama this weekend. Defensively, Greg and I talked about the edges, specifically with what you're going to get in Dylan Stewart and Brian Thomas earlier on the show. But what other aspect of this defense do you think may have some advantages and South Carolina needs to really show up, be big against this Alabama offense?
I think the one thing this defense has shown to be pretty good at is they don't allow you to beat them over the top very often. They've been very good, especially against Oklahoma and LSU, at kind of keeping everything in front of them. Now, is that ultimately leading to them, stopping drives? Like, not always. They're giving up a pretty good amount on third down and playing some pretty soft coverage that Garrett Nussmeier and John Mateer were able to kind of throw those 8 to 10 yard out routes and pick up first down. So, but as far as like giving up the big play, I think they've been pretty good. And then as a red zone team, they've been pretty stout, especially against LSU and Oklahoma the last couple of weeks. You watch some of these games and you could easily see, LSU, Oklahoma putting up 35 points, but South Carolina's been really good in the red zone, pretty good in, those goal-to-go situations. So if they can do that against Alabama and turn 7 into 3 on a number of occasions, they can at least keep the offense in the game. And that's kind of what's happened this year. The offense just hasn't capitalized.
How would they assess where they're at right now from a personnel standpoint at wide receiver? Because we know the offensive line's been very disappointing. That's established. We thought, at least after the first game, maybe 2, that the wide receivers collectively had maybe taken a step, and now it doesn't appear like that's the case. Are they actually better at receiver, or has the offensive line been so disastrous that it's hard to really get a sense?
It's probably a little bit of both. I think there's, I'm looking now at it and thinking back on their offseason philosophy of, hey, why did you guys bring back Lenore Sellers and then try and just put around him freshman wide receivers? And they were hyping up all these freshman wide receivers who are very, can be very good players, but you're looking at it now and they clearly need time to develop. And I think the idea for South Carolina this year is, hey, let's just throw these guys out there and, they're all going to be, Ryan Williams, or at least one or two of them is going to be. And that just hasn't happened this year. And Mazio Bennett, who was really good for South Carolina last year, had a touchdown against Alabama, kind of broke out, has just been absolutely nowhere to be found this season. Like, only has a handful of catches. That's one of the bizarre ones. I don't know if Mike Shula just doesn't like using him, if they don't like what they've gotten in practice. That one has been odd. But there are just weird times, too, where it doesn't feel like the receivers are put in the best position to succeed. There was a 3rd and 2 against Oklahoma right around midfield, and all the receivers are running these long developing routes downfield. They don't even get the chance to turn their head, and Lenore Sellers is already kind of scrambling for his life. And so I think it's probably a combination of the receivers aren't really getting open and haven't shown that they are, elite in the SEC, but also the offensive line is not holding up long enough for them to really finish any of their routes.
Jordan Kate joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline previewing Alabama, South Carolina. But I had to get this in before I let you go. Where is this whole situation with Shane right now? Because he's had to come out publicly, I feel like multiple times, and say, listen, I'm here. I'm good here. I have never thought, and this includes speaking to him on it, that he considered himself a real candidate for Virginia Tech. And I think it's now been open multiple times that he's been the South Carolina head coach. I've never even considered it. That's just me personally. Where do you think things are with Shane Beamer as the South Carolina head coach today?
I am with you. There is no way that he voluntarily leaves South Carolina for Virginia Tech. And I think he still has enough support at South Carolina where, he is not going to be pushed out by any stretch. And you're right. In 2020, even before the job opened, he told me that, some people at Virginia Tech contacted him kind of back channels of, hey, are you interested? He turned it down, took the South Carolina job. It opens in 2021. He doesn't take it, doesn't even really get considered. The other thing is he's making over $8 million. Brent Pry was making less than $6 million. So that's a pretty steep financial downgrade if you're looking at it. And there's also a $5 million buyout. Like, it just, none of it makes any sense. And I think Shane Beamer still has enough support that he's going to be able to turn it around at South Carolina. So, yeah, I think the Shane to Virginia Tech thing is overblown.
Well, my only thing about it is we've seen it happen in other places. And while I would be shocked, I still would be surprised if he left. The opportunity to reset the clock, knowing that he is 1 year away potentially from getting fired at South Carolina, assuming things don't get turned around, then you can get a 5-year extension or a 5 or 6 year, an 8-year deal at Virginia Tech. That's resetting the clock. We've seen it in basketball more so than in football, frankly. The best example, Buzz Williams, who left Texas A&M for Maryland this past off season. Not saying John Calipari was on the hot seat, but I think he wanted to reset the clock and get a fresh start and kind of get things going at Arkansas as opposed to at Kentucky. So we have seen it. It's just rare. So that would be the only reason why I could see him maybe going. So how long is Shane Beamer's leash, I guess, right now? Maybe not this year, but if things weren't good next year, could that be a year in which he was on the hot seat?
I think that's possible. Yeah, and you're totally right about the resetting the clock thing. And Shane kind of even addressed that of saying, like, the idea has to be that I'm going to parachute into a safe job and then I can kind of reset my clock, and kind of discounted that. But, I totally get where you're coming from. The Buzz Williams thing is the best example. He's been doing that better than anyone for like 10, 15 years now. But yeah, I think what Shane Beamer has done really well at South Carolina is not put together 2 poor seasons in a row. And I think coming off the 5-7 season in 2023, a lot of people thought, hey, if they miss a bowl again, he's probably on the hot seat, or they're going to have some difficult conversations. He goes and wins 9 games, not a big deal. So yeah, I think if they miss a bowl this year, probably not immediately on the hot seat. If he maybe hires a new offensive coordinator in 2026 and things still aren't turning around, I think that's when you probably have the difficult conversations towards the end of 2026. But I think they're gonna give him the chance to kind of right it a little bit.
Jordan, great stuff, man. Appreciate the time. Always good catching up with you, and we'll do it again soon. Enjoy the game this weekend.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
There you go. Jordan Kay. He covers the South Carolina Gamecocks. He's joining us on the Higginbotham hotline. Before we go to break, Rubik's Cubelic on the other side. Is it the district attorney?
It was, I think it's a U.S. attorney. His name is Edward Nocella, not quite sure how to pronounce it, but he was at the podium. He was introduced by FBI Director Kash Patel, basically talking about the arrests that were made, and you kind of need to hear this.
Involving fraud. One involves sports betting, and the other involves illegal gambling, very specifically rigged poker games. The first indictment involves 6 defendants who are alleged to have participated in one of the most brazen sports corruption schemes since online sports betting became widely legalized in the United States. This scheme is an insider sports betting conspiracy that exploited confidential information about National Basketball Association athletes and teams. The second indictment involves 31 defendants alleged to have participated in a nationwide scheme to rig illegal poker games. These defendants, which include former professional athletes, used high-tech cheating technology to steal millions of dollars from victims in underground poker games that were secretly fixed. The games in the New York area were backed by the Bonanno, Gambino, and Genovese crime families of La Cosa Nostra. While the cases are separate, there are 3 overlapping defendants charged in both cases: Damon Jones, Eric Ernest, and Shane Hennon. The indictments in these cases contain only allegations, and the defendants are presumed innocent until they are proven guilty in a court of law. But my message to the defendants who've been rounded up today is this: your winning streak has ended. Your luck has run out. Violating the law is a losing proposition, and you can bet on that.
Oh, boy.
Okay, he kind of went a little over the top there, but that's some pretty heavy stuff.
It is.
Yeah.
But, like, we had to go Butch Jones at the end.
Well, they needed a soundbite.
Still crazy, right?
Is he trying to, like, up his Instagram followers? He's going to post that clip? Like, what are we doing at the end there? Come on,
insane.
man.
Dude, it's crazy.
I don't care. I can't get over that guy doing that at the end. What are we doing?
I need to know what was going on in a rigged online poker game. How does this work?
No, I need to know what was going on when this guy was in the back room before he went and met the most powerful media on earth in New York City and said, "Who's got my catchphrase? Sally? Eddie? Come on.
Eddie, give me a good one.
Come on, let's go." How about don't bet on it? Yes, write it down. What?
You didn't like that?
What's that guy's title?
U.S. attorney. And he looks like an older, fatter John Oliver.
I didn't ask for that. You didn't have to do that to him.
I'm just letting you know. That's the kind of dork that just said that. He looks like the kind of guy that needed a line at the end.
So
I kind of liked it. I don't know why y'all are so down on it.
So after Shohei hit that ball out of L.A. the other day, I let my son watch. I went and found this video of like MLB 500-foot home runs, and one of them Cecil Fielder, and he hit a ball like on the roof in Detroit, and I think he hit one out of the stadium at Milwaukee also. And my 8-year-old's watching it with me, and he hits the one out of Milwaukee, and he goes, "Woof!" He's like, "That guy got a big body."
Big body, eh?
I said, "Hold on. What did you say?" He goes, "His body is big. He's got a big body." I was like, I didn't say it out loud, but I was like, "Son, that might be the kindest thing anyone's ever said to a fat person ever." Like,
wow,
I think I got a whole new nice way of saying that folks are round. Yeah.
Wow.
I was literally laughing out loud. Never heard that stated that way, but it was
He's got a big body.
hilarious. He's got a big body, Dad. And I was like, "Yeah, so is your dad."
You don't say.
It is serious, and it is a lot. And I think now we went from, okay, these guys are taking information and betting on their teams, to, okay, they're holding guys out to help shave points, to poker games they're involved in, to now they were the ones stealing money from people, rigging poker games?
Maybe.
Which I can imagine that if you're an NBA star, you can probably attract a certain audience to your games.
They were used as face cards. It's a mafia ties, man. Like,
and
it's
what
crazy.
are I want to know, what are these high-tech cheating
I don't know.
tactics? They have 3D glasses?
It was some sort of like card. I was
See-through
listening
cards?
to it. It was some
I
sort
bet
of.
our magician guy in here could help us with it if he was back.
Well, he did move to
All I
Las
would have
Vegas.
done was this.
He did move to Las Vegas.
That's what I'm saying.
So he may know something.
And we think Vegas, NBA's putting a team in Vegas. Come on.
It's been too obvious.
How do you think you
No.
are?
Yeah, I'm about to say
No.
that might be the biggest takeaway of this whole operation is that the NBA might have second thoughts about going to Vegas.
Second and third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th,
Wow,
12th.
man.
It's crazy.
Adam Silver on line one. Cancel the Vegas plans. We already got the arena. Cancel the plans immediately.
Tell
They picked out a
LeBron we're gonna have
logo.
to think of it. Tell LeBron we got to think of a different market.
Hey, Tom Brady's money to buy part of the Raiders is cleared, right? Like he's already in. Okay, good. Like, because he can't back out now. He's already in.
He's calling games. He's fine. There's nothing there.
Well, we'll see.
The details of this
crazy.
are going to be
It's crazy.
fascinating.
I'm obsessed with it already. I don't even know what's going on. I'm obsessed with it.
Are you guys like me? Can you play like the last 30 seconds of that when he says who was involved there? And actually, maybe not the last. I don't need to hear his campaign for mayor of New York City lines again at the end there that he's going to have on repeat when he decides to run for something else.
Oh, yeah. Your winning streak ends today.
And you can,
You
bet,
can bet on that.
You can bet on that.
Wow.
Oh,
I need to hear when he says who's involved, because I always wonder something about this in instances like this. There's not a ton of them out there, but there are a few. But when you go out of your way to say things like this, I immediately fear for that individual. And I'm dead serious.
when he starts naming.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you start naming families I've never even heard of,
that was secretly
The
fixed.
Gambini family, the
games in
like the
New York
Bambino
area
family.
were backed by the Bonanno, Gambino, and Genovese crime families.
listen, I know you're a federal agent. I get it. But I just, like, when I hear, maybe I've watched too many movies.
Oh, yeah.
When I hear that, I just think, could we have not, and once again, this was obviously not well done by whoever put the very end of it together. We know that.
Correct, right.
That person should be sent home and be put in detention for days. But when I hear that, I immediately think to myself, could you have not just said by organized crime?
Yeah, didn't have to put that out there.
Like, don't feel like the finger pointing is that necessary.
Right. Not
But-
in this situation.
I don't have his credentials, but just where
Yeah,
my
about to say.
it's where my brain goes.
I bet he feels pretty safe.
Yeah. I'm sure.
Why, Greg, can you bet on that? Because
Stop
think it'd be-
doing
no.
that right now. Don't do that again.
I will
You
say
quit
this.
that.
I don't get the sense, maybe I'm crazy. I do not get the sense that now that he has listed those families off individually, you could make a pretty compelling case that those families were involved in the event in which that guy disappears. So I think that they probably, let's just stay away from that one, boys.
Yeah. This is not a case that we are going to put on the bench and will not be bounce passing this to local authorities. Back with more next. I'll just say this. The Terry Rozier highlights that are flying around social media right now are not helping the case. It's a good thing he's focused on poker, not actual basketball. May or may not have just handed the ball to the other team a couple of times last night.
And he made $96 million?
Not last night, no.
Over 4 years?
I don't know
Over
if you
4
heard this,
years.
Greg, but his winning streak's over.
I've heard that. $96 million, though, over 4 years.
There's a new basket he's going to be heading into.
You're going downtown. Really? Oh, yeah, to the Clink. Oh, okay. Oh, sorry.
We're going to hit 3 charges against him today.
Take a charge. No, another one.
Now that I've thought about that, I kind of wish this guy would have just gone full in on that
Kept
the
on going?
whole way. Yeah, the whole time.
There's nothing but gambling references the whole time.
We are going to be traveling him to jail. This is not a charge we're going to put behind our back. Illegal defense has not been called. You're under arrest. Just throw them all. Just go straight foolery the entire time. All right. Speaking of foolery, Greg, tell our listeners about Shinar Flooring.
Well, they've done a great foolery, flooring. I get it. Similar
Foolery meaning
words.
if your floors are broken.
Yes, okay, sounds good. If you rearrange the letters, maybe you get close to flooring, thereabouts. Shinar Flooring does a great job. They stockpile a ton of Cortec flooring by Shaw in stock. It's amazing the amount that they have, 50,000 square feet of it. And because of the inventory they've accumulated, they are passing those savings on to you, 20 to 40%. Go and check out Shinar Flooring today. That Cortec flooring is really, really, really durable. 20 mil wear layer, it'll get you safe, pet-proof, dependable, adds value to your home or business. So if you're thinking about making some Cortec flooring changes, who do you want to call? Call who? Call Foo. Call them at Shinar Flooring, 205-518-6423, or you can go online at footandyou.com.
I got to read this tweet from Mike. He has a NBA and DraftKings logo on a graphic together, and he said, the NBA is very concerned about the multiple arrests made as a result of the FBI sports gambling code. Use code multiple arrests for a 30% profit boost on a 3-leg parlay with DraftKings, the official gambling partner of the NBA.
It's wild.
Oh,
That's incredible.
But Terry Rozier, he guilty. He's super guilty. Like
of what charge?
The way that he was doing that.
The one pass. It just
Like,
fell out of his hand.
The one charge he didn't take was on the court. Yeah.
Wow, that's a good one.
Then he's like holding his hands like, oh no. Like, yeah, it's the that's the under.
We will not double dribble down on these charges.
This is brutal.
You may have had a full house at home, but you're going to the big house now.
Okay, let's quickly just knock out the Rubik's Cubelic. By the way, perfect last week. Yes, had
There we go.
Alabama, had Mizzou, had Vandy, had Georgia, had Notre Dame, had BYU. Here we go. Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Saber, plug it in.
I'm done.
That was fast.
Hot off the
Printer's
presses,
getting
baby.
better. Obviously in Norman, Greg, you'll be on this game. 187 on the ground to 129 in favor of Ole Miss. Ole Miss allows 167 on the ground. That's 15th in the SEC. What? Oklahoma, 80 per game on the ground. Pretty good there for the Sooners. -4, -5 in the turnovers. That's a push.
Ugh.
51 flags for 483 yards for Ole Miss. That is 14th in the SEC. Just 44 for 412 for Oklahoma. Oklahoma, 44% on third down. Not bad. Ole Miss is 52% on third down.
That's great.
That's advantage Ole Miss. Ole Miss 36% allowed on third down. Oklahoma allows 25% of third down conversions allowed. I believe the majority of that was brokered by the Auburn game. Second in the SEC by a margin of +2. The Rubik's Cubelic likes Oklahoma to win the game. Missouri at Vandy, game day game. Plug it in.
Rubik's Cubelic.
Obviously, game in Nashville, but Vandy runs for 245 a game, or with 213 a game. Missouri 245. That's first in the SEC. Advantage Mizzou. Vandy allows 92 rushing yards per game.
That's okay.
Solid.
That's solid.
It's more than okay. It's under 100. Missouri allows 84. Third in the SEC. Advantage Mizzou. Now, Mizzou's -2 in the turnovers. Vandy +2. That is a
Double up.
Yes, it is. Vantage Vandy. 48 flags for 424 yards for Vandy this year. 32 for 329 for Mizzou.
All right, Missouri.
Missouri is 53% on third down this year.
That's amazing.
Not as amazing as Vanderbilt's 56%.
That's next level.
56% on third down for the Commodores. That is second in all of college football at 55.71, so 56%. You will be surprised at who is behind them in just a moment. 27 allowed percent, 38% allowed on third down by Vandy. That's advantage Mizzou by a margin of +1. The Rubik's Cubelic likes Missouri.
Wow, Mizzou on the road.
Got him right on the road last week.
Not shocking.
Got him right on the
Not
road last
shocking.
week.
Mizzou's a good team.
It's true.
Greg, you will find this one very interesting based on some of your comments earlier in the show. Plug in A&M at LSU, John.
Oh, done.
Game obviously Baton Rouge, advantage LSU. 112 per game on the ground for LSU. Surprises no one that they're 15th in the league in rushing. A&M runs for 196 a game. That's advantage Aggies. 127 and 122 allowed per game on the ground for these two teams. That's a push. +1, +2 in the turnovers for these teams. That's a push.
Okay.
57 flags for 472 yards for Texas A&M. 48 for 424 for LSU.
Oh, a little undisciplined.
40% on third down for A&M.
I've heard better.
42% for LSU.
Oh, my.
Okay.
LSU allows opponents to convert 34% of their third downs.
Okay.
Now, Texas A&M first in the SEC, they allow opponents to convert 23%. Yeah, that wasn't going to be very dramatic there. Third down defense. Once again, brokered in part by one game. But by a margin of +0.5.
Woo.
The Rubik's Cube likes LSU.
Oh, boy.
Greg called it. I'm starting to think that Greg has influence on the computers. But
I've always
Here we
felt
are.
that way.
Oh, Cash Patel may be
Here we go.
hitting up Greg soon.
Chauncey Billups.
Oh, yes. My winning streak is up because I'm picking so well this year.
let's go to the Big Ten. Illinois is at Washington. Plug it in.
Rubik's Cubelic.
Obviously, game at Washington, advantage Huskies, 168 a game on the ground, 98 allowed for the Huskies, 119 and 131 for Illinois, advantage Washington in both. +4, +2 in favor of Illinois here in the turnovers. Washington, 42 for 368. That's really good in the penalties. Illinois, 34 for 272.
Attaboy, Bielema.
They behave themselves.
Let's go.
Where they don't behave themselves is on third down.
Oh, gosh. Here we go.
Washington converts 53% of their third downs.
That's great.
Second in the Big Ten. Illinois converts 37%. That is
converts.
17th in the Big Ten. Yeah, and that's not the only side of it that they're bad on. They allow opponents to convert 45%, 16th in the Big Ten. They're terrible on third down.
Ugh.
Now, Washington allows opponents to convert 42, so they're not great there, but by a margin of +1, the Rubik's Cube likes Washington to win this game.
Are you, Dub?
And finally, let's go to Fayetteville. Well, not yet. They're not. Auburn's not there yet, but the Hogs are. Let's call them.
Oh, done.
Games in Fayetteville, advantage Hogs. They run for 225 a game. Auburn runs for 162 a game. That is advantage Razorbacks. Auburn allows 87 yards a game on defense. It's pretty good. 87 rushing yards. Arkansas allows 189 rushing yards per game. That is dead last. Dead last in the SEC.
Is it surprising, though? Seriously.
189, like no matter the year or anything,
Right,
I
it's
think
not
is a
good.
little bit surprising. That is
that's a big number.
That is atrocious.
Yes.
That's good for 121st in college football. Which actually means there's a decent amount behind them, which is maybe more disturbing.
They're in the map.
One of them plays tonight. Georgia State, 133rd in rush defense.
Wow.
Yeah. Maybe take South Alabama. No, they're 124th in rush defense. So, no, don't. Take the over. +4 in the turnovers for Auburn, -5 for Arkansas.
That is a
That
double
would
up.
be a double up.
Double up. Double up.
Auburn has 59 flags for 488 yards this year. That is 15th in the SEC.
Okay.
Arkansas, 41 for 358, advantage Hogs. This one will shock you. Auburn's converting 37% on third down, 14th in the SEC.
That's not that shocking. We knew that.
No, I know. Arkansas, 55% on third down. Second in the Southeastern Conference.
Okay, yeah, you were right.
Wow.
And third in the nation. Y'all are all driving on your way to work. Now you can walk into work and say, guess who has a top 3 third down offense in all of college football? And they're never going to guess Arkansas. So you win the day.
You win the day. Your winning streak starts today.
Oh,
Why is this so dumb?
he's the one that did it, not us. Illinois allows opponent. I'm sorry, Illinois. What am I doing? Auburn allows opponents to convert on 31% of their third downs. That's 4th in the SEC.
That's good.
So complete opposite of Arkansas, just like Auburn. Complete opposite of their offense, allowing opponents to convert on 45% of their third downs. That's 16th in the SEC.
That'd be last.
That's dead last.
Something has to happen on third down in this game.
It's going to be epic. It's going to be epic.
If Auburn gets to a third down, something has to happen. There's either going to be a conversion or a stop. I just don't know which one it is. All right, that's it for the Rubik's Cubelic. You've got Oklahoma +2, Missouri +1.5, LSU +0.5, Arkansas +1, Washington +1. Those are the picks for your winners based on the computer metrics for today. We'll be back with more next.
Your winning streak has ended. Your luck has run out. Violating the law is a losing proposition, and you can bet on that.
I'm going to be honest with you. It sounds like Bob Costas. It
really
legit
does.
sounds like Bob Costas
does
doing
a
a
little
promo
bit.
for his like Tuesday night MLB on NBC or something.
And you can bet on that.
Steven Groover with the line of the day, tweeting into the show at Mac and Cube. The case is what some might call a slam dunk.
Ooh.
Steven, you are not the weakest link.
This is wild.
Greg, tell our listeners about Crocker Moving Services.
They're a local company owned by an Iraq War veteran, Eric Crocker. Crocker believes in hiring movers you can trust to complete full background checks and run drug tests on every single employee. These are good guys. You can trust them in your home. Whether it's your whole home packed up and move your company headquarters moved across the country, or you just want them to come rearrange your living room, these guys got you covered. They also do deliveries for furniture that you purchase need to get to your home. So call visit them online today for a free quote. The website's CrockerMovingServices.com. That's CrockerMovingServices.com. Support your veterans by choosing Crocker Moving Service for your next move.
Using our complicated nothing but network to take them down. You'll be glad to know we did not run an illegal defense when uncovering these schemes. I think I'm out of NBA puns for this case, but I'm
That's
sure